Alright, so hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today I want to talk a little bit about a neat little Razorwing setup for Titania Prime that we put together yesterday on stream. I originally wanted to focus this a little bit more on the Razorflies, which is something that I always wanted to do with Titania. I have sort of this minion build where you're flying around and the Razorflies are taking care of enemies, but they're just not quite strong enough and their AI is kind of dumb. They usually get left behind as you're flying through the mission, but they're still great for doing a little bit of damage, so dealing with the smaller enemies and distracting the bigger enemies, which by the way is quite a nice layer of defense, and it's really strong when added on top of all the other layers of defense that we already have on this build. So in the end the build is actually really tanky, and the damage it does is not too shabby either. Another reason why I really like this build is that it doesn't require any forma whatsoever, and that's with 2 Umbra mods, so as long as you put in a potato, you're good to go. So for the aura, we're gonna put in Steel Charge just to get a ton of mod capacity to fit everything in, and it doesn't actually matter that we don't benefit from the melee damage because we're already doing more than enough damage as it is. This is basically what allows us to run a full build with 0 forma. Then for the exile slot, we're gonna run Aviator, which gives you 40% damage reduction while airborne, and this works in Razorwing, so you just have straight up 40% damage reduction while you're in Razorwing. Now this didn't used to work in Razorwing back in the day, but they've changed it quite a while ago so that it does work in Razorwing, and as a result Aviator is one of the strongest defensive mods you can run on Titania. After that we have Umbra Vitality, which is one rank from the top, and that's something that I would recommend you do with your Umbra mods. Don't necessarily max them out because it makes it harder to slot into builds, and this just gives you a big health buffer so that when you do eventually get hit you don't instantly die. But it also powers up Umbra Intensify, so it gives you more power strength than if you wouldn't have Umbra Vitality on the build. And just like Umbra Vitality, I have my Umbra Intensify one rank from the top. However, if you have a ton of Umbra Forma that you can just throw around willy-nilly, you can max them out, and if you don't have the Umbra versions of these mods, just use the regular ones. Then to utilize the depolarity that Titania Prime comes with, we're gonna put in Agility Drift, and now this reduces the damage while airborne even further, giving you a grand total of 52% damage reduction while you're in Razorwing, and it gives you 6% evasion, which is a stat that you don't see very often in Warframe. And what it does is it reduces the accuracy of enemies firing at you, and with this you're gonna have 56% total evasion because Razorwing gives you 50% by default. After that we're gonna put in Ogre Secrets, which just gives you a nice chunk of power strength, which equals more damage, but the set bonus here is actually not too bad nowadays because it gives you 40% of energy spent on abilities as shields. So you can actually use this to reset your shield gate if you get chunked really hard. You just activate an ability which gives you a little bit of shields and resets your gate. Then we want to put in some efficiency, so we use a fully ranked Streamline and a Fleeting Expertise that's 2 ranks from the top to save on some duration drain, and this is just so you can sit in Razorwing for pretty much the entire mission. Then to balance out the lost duration from Fleeting Expertise and get some additional duration, we're gonna run Primed Continuity or Standard Continuity if you don't have the Primed version, and this just lowers the drain of Razorwing by a little bit, but it also increases the duration of the buffs you get from your second ability by a bit as well. And the final mod is one that people constantly ask about, and that is Energy Conversion. Now this is a mod that you get from Cephalon Cimaris, and what it does is it makes it so that whenever you pick up an energy orb, the next ability you use will have 50% bonus power strength. The cool thing about this is that if you use it with a toggle ability, you get the bonus strength for the entire duration. And the second piece of the puzzle is of course the Dix Pixia setup, which is also 0 forma, which is super nice. Now yesterday I've tried Crit, I didn't like it. Today I've tried Crit, I didn't like it, so in the end I ended up going with this, which is just a super reliable setup that does constant good damage. So the mods we have here are Hornet Strike for damage, Barrow Diffusion for multi-shot, Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot, Main to pump up Slash so that it procs more often, then Gunslinger for a crap ton of fire rate, which is really strong here, and then we have 3 dual stat mods, starting off with Scorch for heat and status chance, and following up with Frostbite and Pistol Pestilence for viral and status chance. Now the performance here is super nice, because these are level 160 heavy gunners and they go down pretty damn fast. I wasn't really targeting any of them in particular, so I was just sort of spraying and praying, but you can see the damage is really nice, and also, as you may have noticed, I did this without invincibility and I took precisely 0 damage. And that's one of the things that I really like about this setup. A lot of the enemies will be distracted by the Razorflies and they will try to swat them away, but even if they're not, they have heavily reduced accuracy when firing at you in Razorwing, and even if they do manage to hit you, you will take almost no damage because of the heavy damage reduction you get while airborne. So not only does the build do top-notch damage, it's also incredibly tanky and it doesn't require any forma whatsoever. If, of course, your Umbra mods are not maxed out. If they are maxed out, you will have to put in at least 1 forma. Now, one thing to bear in mind here is that you are using energy conversion, so you want to pick up an energy orb before you jump into Razorwing. However, you are significantly squishier when you're not in Razorwing, and if you just run around in a high-level mission without being in Razorwing, you're just gonna get clapped and die. So what I usually do is I just jump into Razorwing, I keep killing enemies until I get an energy orb, at which point I will drop out of Razorwing and then jump back into it again to get the extra power strength bonus. Also, while I personally don't like to use the other abilities too much, I just kinda like flying around in Razorwing and shooting stuff with the Dexpixia, you can very much use the other abilities as well, because you have a ton of efficiency, so they are very cheap. And finally, if you want some arcane recommendations here, I would personally go with Arcane Victory, which gives you a chance to trigger health regeneration when you kill an enemy with a headshot. I tried playing around with Arcane Grace a lot, which is my usual go-to, but since you have so much evasion, you barely get hit and it doesn't trigger all that often, so Victory is definitely better for sustaining your health. And as far as the second arcane is concerned, just pick whatever you like, though I would personally probably go with Arcane Energize to get better energy sustain. And that is pretty much it for the video, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you have enjoyed it and you will find this build fun, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.